So in this tutorial, we will build a nice-based classification model to predict level of acceptability of a car given its buying price, maintenance price, number of doors, number of person it can carry, size of luggage boot, and safety level. So for buying price, it has four possible values, which is low, medium, high, and very high, which is the same for maintenance price. For number of doors, we have different cars with 2, 3, 4, and 5 more doors, more than 5 doors. And for capacity, we have 3 categories, which is 2 people, a car for 4 people, and a car which can carry more than 4 people. And the size of the luggage boot can be small, medium, and big. The safety levels are low, medium, or high. So they are all the input attributes. We annotate it as x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, and x6. And we also have the class variable, which is y. Y can be one of these 4 possible values. So in order to predict the level of acceptability given the buying price, maintenance price, number of doors, number of persons, size of luggage boot, and safety, we will need to compute the probability of y given x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, and x6. Right, so in the lecture, we know that the probability of y given x1 to x6 is proportional to the factorization of px1 given y times px2 given y times px3 given y times px4 given y times px5 given y times px6 given y and times py, right? So therefore what we need to do is compute px1 given y and so on up to px6 given y, and we need to compute py as well so that we can estimate the probability of y given x1 to x6. So we know that y have 1, 2, 3, 4 values, which is unacceptable, acceptable, good, and very good. So we can compute the probability of y using the COUNTIF. To compute the probability of y, first we need to count the occurrence of the values of y. So we have, because y have 4 different values, right? It can be unacceptable, acceptable, good, and very good. So we count each of them in the data set to see the number of occurrence for each value here. So we use COUNTIF and we select all the values of y, right? And you put a comma here. Actually, in the instruction document, you can see this value, and you just need to put it in here instead of dragging down like this. And this value is the value we want to count is p8. So we put here p8 and enter. So that is the number of occurrence of the values unacceptable. So we do the same for the other, but remember that we can copy and by dragging down, but when we drag down, the value the index for p will change, but the index for the data, so when we dragging down, the index for the data will change from Z7 to Z8 and so on. So we need to keep it fixed by putting the $sign like this. The P1 is okay because we want to change the value from unacceptable to acceptable to good and very good and so on, right? So now we will drag it down and we can compute the occurrence of the acceptable value for y and the good values for y and the be good value for y as well. And now we compute total, data entries in this data set by using sum. We learned this before, right? So it's from P8 to from 08 to 012 11 to 011. So that is the total occurrence of all these possible values for y. Compute the probability by using the occurrence number, right? The divided by the total data entries we have, which is 012. Right? And now we do the same for acceptable, good, very good, right? But if we dragging down, remember that if we dragging down, then the total will change, which is the index 12 will change. So now we want it fixed by putting a $sign before this, and then we just drag down like this, and they are the probabilities of y for different values here. Okay, let's compute x1 given y. So x1 we have different values, right? It can be very high, medium, low. So we will set the value here. Let's say we set the value as low, and we want to compute px1 equal low given y equal unacceptable. So what we are doing is we compute the probability of the buying price is low given that the car is unacceptable, right? We do that using the CALIFS formulas. So this is CALIFS. It will compute the occurrence, the co-occurrence of x1 equal low and y equal unacceptable. So the range here will be all the values of x1. So we will try to remember the index, the last index. So next time we do not need to do this again. So the last index is 1734, right? So it's 1734. And that's all possible value for x1. And now I want to search for the low value, right? So which is I7. And now for all possible values for y, which is from G7 to Z1734, and we count the co-occurrence with the values of y as unacceptable, which is P8. So here you can see that there are 258 rows in the data that have the buying price as no and the level of acceptability is unacceptable, right? But that is not the probability. In order to compute the probability, you need to divide it by the total occurrence of y, which is O8 like this. So we divide O8. So that is the probability. We want to do the same for px2 in y and px3 in y and so on to px6 in y. We can do that by copying these formulas from this cell to the right. But remember that there's one issue with copying, which is the shifting of the index, right? So if we look at these formulas, we can see that we want to keep this the same, this and this are the same as well because they are all for y, and in all the probabilities here they have the same y. So I will put all the dollar sign to the part related to y, so which is the P, O, and G. Meanwhile, I want to shift the values from x1 to x2, which means that I want to shift the column index from A to B to C and so on, right? And also the values assignments of the value for x2, x3, e4, e5, e6 from JK, from I to JK, L, M, N. So I will keep the row index the same and let the column index change. So that is fine. So now if we can move here, then we have the properties for the other variables, x2 to x6. Right. So we can apply the same for the second one, but we need to change a little bit, right? So let's say we want to copy um, the formulas for different y, which is the acceptable, right? But now we need to change a little bit. Now it's not for we want to change the y, right? So it's not OP O8 and P8 anymore. So for OP we need to increase, right? O and P, we need to increase the row index. Do anything, just change this value. Yeah, and then we have this, and we drag it to the right. Same, so and so on. So we move this one down, but we need to change it to O10 and P10. Right, and then we drag it to the right. And we copy it as well, and then we change it to 11. Right, and we just move it to the right like this. Okay, so now we compute the factorization of the probability, right? So you multiply all of them here. So we have this one, which is I equal I 8, right, times J 8 times K 8 times L 8 times M 8 times N 8. Right, so we have time py, which is q8. That's the one. Right, and then we just need to drag it down. And here we see that the highest one is this one, right? So the highest one is acceptable. So given the input as low, high, 3 more peak and high, we predict that the acceptability will be acceptable because that has the highest probability.